welcome to InfoHub. In our headlines, government has a vigorous legislative agenda planned for the remainder of this year and 2018. Poor 911 connections should be a thing of the past. More ICT hubs for east coast of Demerara, and the Salvation Army wants you to give generously. Stay tuned for the details of these and more. And now for the details. President David Granger outlined a vigorous legislative agenda which is planned for the remainder of this year and 2018. Zanil Williams tells us more.
In his address to the National Assembly, the head of state said the 6 principal areas will include finalizing bills already introduced, strengthened anti-corruption legislation, modernizing and updating existing legislation, and improving the justice administration.
We shall proceed with the further stages of a number of bills which are already before the House for consideration, some of which are before select committees. These include the Cybercrime Bill 2016, Food Safety Bill 2016, Civil Aviation Bill 2017, Constitution Reform Consultative Commission Bill 2017, Petroleum Commission of Guyana Bill 2017, and Animal Welfare Bill 2016. The National Assembly will be asked to approve legislation to modernize our defamation laws, to include inter alia defamation via online internet sources of communication.
The administration also intends to strengthen the country's system of local government. Government will also be seeking to expand international legislation by passing the CARICOM draft model.
The CARICOM Draft Model Consumer Protection Bill is intended to promote consumer welfare and protection. Cabinet has approved Guyana's accession to the 1951 United Nations Convention relating to the status of refugees, including the Protocol of 1967. This accession requires Guyana to enact legislation to treat with refugees.
Legislative power is invested in the President and the National Assembly of Guyana. Zanil Williams reporting for InfoHub.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who is currently performing the duties of president today, reaffirmed the government's commitment to fighting illicit drug trafficking at the Salvation Army's annual Christmas Kettle Appeal launch. More from Renetta LaFleur.
The acting head of state and Prime Minister Nagamutu explained that because the illicit drug trade can control politicians, increase corruption and destroy Guyana, the government will place greater emphasis on dismantling it.
That is why we have throughout the large expanse of our territory, patrols on horsebacks, army patrol on foot, patrols in our river, by air, constantly trying to intercept the vehicles, some by muddy dams and byways and back roads, and others by aircraft that would bring the evil powder to Guyana.
He lauded the Salvation Army for the exemplary work it's been doing in the fight against illicit drugs.
I'd like to commend the Salvation Army, at least in this one area of the work in Guyana. And I'd like to also say that for me, the path of goodness is the path of godliness.
Prime Minister Nagamutu made the first contribution to the annual Christmas Kettle Appeal. He was followed by other members of the Diplomatic Corps, Guyana Police Force and private sector, and school children. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
InfoHub's Paul McAdam now tells us that after a long wait, the 911 emergency calling system is finally up and running.
At the system's commissioning this morning in the Brickdam Police Station's compound, Minister of Public Security Kamrat Ramjitan described it as a huge development for the nation's security. He said that the system is expected to work smoothly in terms of response time. He also disclosed that the Guyana Police Force will receive a fleet of vehicles worth billions of Guyana dollars from the Chinese government.
Yes, they're there. Over 56 pickups, brand new. I think about 20 buses and a number of ATVs, 25 ATVs that will go into the interior area, all brand new. Equipment worth billions of dollars. So don't feel, especially members of the press, that because we can get a 911, we are going to be then stifled because we don't have the resources to back it up. Yes, we are going to get the resources now because we will be deploying those, and I've gotten from the Assistant Commissioner where and where they will be deployed.
The call system is outfitted with a number of special features. These include selective call transfers and automatic caller identification, amongst others. Additionally, Acting Commissioner of Police, David Ramnarine, highlighted that 52 such facilities will soon be disseminated to locations across Guyana. The top cop reminded the officer corps charged with operating the system of the importance of being professional.
Sadly, our attitudinal behavior towards our work, towards colleagues, towards the members of the public, there's a huge gap. And so I can only urge those of you who will be engaged in ensuring that the 911 emergency system, that we're all here at this launch, that it will be something meaningful, something useful, not something mirroring the challenges of the past. It must never be so.
Representatives of service providers from GTT and Digicel, who made the system a reality, expressed satisfaction in being able to play their role in ensuring the nation's security and that of its citizens. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
At the 71st sitting of the National Assembly on Thursday, the government announced that it has taken over nearly $4 billion in debt from the Atlantic Hotels Incorporated. Details from Paul McAdam.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan said that the move by the government ensures that Republic Bank Limited continues to receive payments and saves the Marriott Hotel from foreclosure proceedings.
The reality here is that such a payment should have been made by AHI based on monies that they would have been receiving from the Marriott Hotel. But because the Marriott Hotel is not in a state to give AHI any monies, and because AHI's parent, NISIL, is not in a state to give AHI money, the central government is now forced to take over this debt, over $17 million debt.
In addition, the minister explained that situations like these continue to drain the nation's coffers of finances which he says can otherwise be used to improve the standard of living for all Guyanese.
It is these kinds of transactions which were meant to grow this economy and pay for themselves. It is these kinds of transactions that takes away a lot from the treasury and essentially robbing public servants and so on of monies that should rightfully go to them. This is not the only debt that we have been taken over. We have taken over all the debts of Gaisuko, right? All the loans that were taken to build Skeldon, the loans from the multilaterals. We are servicing those loans. You remember we took over for $5 billion debt for NIS. All right. Again, that is monies. Had that investment not gone that way, that would have been $5 billion that would have been available for payment.
Atlantic Hotel Incorporated was a special purpose company formed by NISIL to partner in the construction of the Marriott Hotel. This has seen the previous government investing in excess of billions of hundreds of dollars from the National Insurance Scheme and other state-owned agencies which have received no dividends to date. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
On Thursday, Crystal Stull was at Melanie Damishana for the Ministry of Telecommunications launch of its 4th ICT hub on the east coast of Demerara. Here's more.
Director of the National Data Management Authority, Philip Walcott, on Thursday evening officially declared the hub opened.
And the reason is that we're looking to provide in each community greater access to government services as the ultimate purpose. All of this is about giving you greater access to government services.
He explained that the services not only aim to benefit students in the community, but also adults, since the government aims to digitize all of its services.
A community hub is not about children. A community hub is about every single person, because even the elderly will have to deal with their pensions online.
Buxton Falls NDC Chairman Dion Abrams commended the government for the initiative. He encouraged villagers to carry their devices and make full use of the services, noting it has become a necessity for all.
We cannot move forward in the world without knowledge of the internet and being up to date with the technology that it provides. For every aspect of life that we deal with now, some form of the use of the computer and the internet is critical.
One resident, Janasha Alstrom, said she was elated since the hub will allow access to services previously lacking within the community.
I think that it's a great opportunity to all the less fortunate people in Melanie that can't afford the stuff that they're offering here. So I think it's pretty great, and it will benefit us as students.
The hub is equipped with 15 computers, printers, and 2 air conditioning units. Another hub is due to be commissioned at Pleasance on the East Coast next week. Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
And in our final report, Stacey Carmichael joins us with Cabinet Roundup.
Minister Harman said Guyanese should not allow the disruptive behavior of the opposition during the President's address in the National Assembly to redefine who we are as a people. During President David Granger's address to the 71st sitting of the National Assembly, PPP members of Parliament held up placards, shouted and heckled in the presence of the diplomatic corps, VIPs and the public. The State Minister described Thursday's protest by the parliamentary opposition as unfortunate and called for civility in public discourse.
We should not allow this behavior in the Parliament yesterday of parliamentary protesters inside of the House to redefine who we are as a people, to redefine the fact that we are civil, that we are courteous, and that we extend that civility and courtesy to our leaders, and more so to guests who are in our house. Yesterday, I believe it was unfortunate that, in my view and in the view of many of my colleagues, that the behavior by the opposition represented a significant departure from what is known as legitimate protest.
Minister Harman, in response to a question posed by the media, said that an issue should not be made out of the fact that GCOM chairman, Justice James Patterson, was the acting Chief Justice in Grenada, while his CV states that he was the Chief Justice. He explained.
It is something which you should give all of that problems to. Because we have a lot of people here in this country who are acting. But we don't say because they're acting that they're not that. The Chancellor of the Judiciary, who just retired, was acting at the time when he retired. We won't say that he was not the Chancellor of the Judiciary. The current Chancellor is acting. The current Chief Justice is acting. So this question about whether you're acting and you can say that you are that, or that you have to be conformed as substantive before you can use the title. I think that is something that, in my view, is neither here nor there. The question is that the person has performed in those capacities, he's performed creditably.
The State Minister reiterated that President Granger has deemed Justice Patterson as the fit and proper person for the post. To conclude today's roundup, Minister Harman, in response to Attorney-at-Law Christopher Ram's claim that the government has signed a $20 million bonus agreement with oil company ExxonMobil, endorsed the public statement made by the Minister of Natural Resources that the contract would be made public at a later time to be announced. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Thanks for watching. Remember to connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.